Hey, what's up? My name is Matt Workman, and in this video, I'm going to be exploring 3 different ways of lighting a set like you would for a movie, a television, a commercial, and we're going to be doing that inside of Cine Tracer. Okay, so we just arrived on set, and this is where the camera's going to be. This is our lead actor, and this is our set. It's pretty boring, which is good. That's what I was going for. We're going to make it cool with lighting. We have a shiny floor, we have a drop ceiling, and it looks kind of like a waiting room for a hospital. I'm not sure where I made this set, but that's what we're going to light up. So to start, let's do something with this ceiling light here. Okay, this is something you might see in your house, and when you put it on the ceiling, in a drop ceiling set, you would typically take one of these squares up there, and that square would be like a whole light. This is very similar effect to that. So we have our first light placed, and I'm going to make it dark so you can see what's going on, right? So really dark. We have our first light placed back here. This could also just be like a drop ceiling light that you turned on. So we're going to keep doing drop ceiling lighting more or less. I'm going to put one here, one there, one in this part of the waiting room, and one in this part of the waiting room, okay? So we've basically done overhead lighting, like literally drop ceiling lighting, kind of also like space lights, sort of. These are a little bit spottier than space lights. And what we're going to do to visualize this just a little bit better is change a couple things. One, you'll see that the shadows kind of weird, right? There's kind of weird shadows happening. That doesn't happen in real life, not normally. So the first thing we're going to do is switch all of these to ray traced shadows, and you might see some of the differences as we go. I'm also turning off haze because I just don't need it, and we're going to ray trace this one, and we're going to ray trace that one. Ooh, RTX in the house. So now it's a little bit subtle, but if you look at the shadows on the ground, much softer, and they're actually physically accurate based on the size of that light up there. That was the idea. So softer shadows, that helps quite a bit. And the next thing, however, is that it doesn't quite feel right? And that's because there's no bounced lighting. In the real world, this light would hit the ground, and then it would bounce up, and this would hit the ceiling above it, that would bounce down, it'd hit the light bounces everywhere, and overall this is too dark because of that. But we can actually fix that without using any ray tracing features here. Okay, so what we're basically doing is going from this black, no fill look to slowly adding some bounce light into the scene. It might be subtle here, but this is done by eye, right? You can go way overboard with it, or we can do it so that it feels more realistic. I would say somewhere around here, like that. And I actually have to turn this off. I might turn it up just a little bit just to really show it. So this is the scene with global illumination on, like this. And the last touch I'm going to do is actually changing the amount of bounce from below. Because this floor is a little bit warm, I'm going to warm this up just a bit, and I'm going to bring this up. You can see you can go way too far with it, or you can just add a little bit of warmer fill light from below. In the real world, you would just get this lighting for free. In Cine Tracer, this is how you would visualize it, right? So it's a much brighter scene, completely lit, and I believe kind of believably lit by these overhead lights. They could be overhead drop ceiling lights, anything from overhead. This is a very safe way to approach things. If you want just like an overall bright, happy interior scene, this can do okay, right? You always want to come in and light the talent separately, if possible, like turn that one off. But we're kind of talking about lighting the environment mostly today. So this is that shot right now. We're moving into a medium shot, pulling back to a wide shot. This is our first lighting setup. Pretty good. I'm going to take some screenshots. This is the wide. I kind of like, that's the wide now. And we'll scoot into here. Take that screenshot. Pretty good. And we'll hop out of the camera. So that is our first lighting setup. Overhead lighting, pretty straightforward. But just wanted to go through the mentality of it. This is a really safe way to start approaching lighting almost any scene, really. Next, we're going to make it a little bit more sci-fi, okay? So I'm going to go and delete these lights out of the room now. And we're just left with this kind of like fake ambient light that we had from before. And what I'm going to use now instead is going to be the industry favorite, the tube light. So this could be any number of manufacturers of tube light. It really doesn't matter. The hardest part is just doing this. Boom, sticking it on the wall. That's the hard part. That's all art department too. So we're going to go for a little bit more of like a cool look here. Like cool meaning like it looks cool, not like temperature cool. Though we are going to make it blue. And I'm going to bring this down to about 20. And I'm going to make our ambient light something like this. So it's already taken on kind of like a much different vibe here. There are actually hospitals that have lighting like this. Ooh, stick it on the wall here. Put one here. Another one there. Another one here. And another one there. Right? So this is kind of like, it almost looks like reserve lighting, like the power went off and these like turned on, or something where like you're really taking the light and you're basically just bouncing it off the ceiling, kind of like recessed, like reversed recessed lighting. I forget what that's called, but you do see this out there. It's less common. This also feels more like a disaster movie or something like that to me. Something that you'll get frequently with this type of lighting is because it's very dark overall, but we have these big bright sources, are reflections of those lights in the floor. That's something that's always nice to pick up and kind of design for. But this is the second look, right? Just putting tubes along the ceiling or along the wall, the upper kind of like ceiling wall perimeter. And to light the talent, in this case, I'm going to just take a 4x frame here, and you can put whatever you want through it, or it could be like an LED 4x, something like this. I'm going to put it up here, and we're going to come very much from the side like it was basically this tube. Like this tube was lighting her. That's the kind of the motivation. I'm going to make it a little bit blue like this. I will ray trace this one, turn it up just a little bit. So this is the second lighting setup. Let's look through the camera here. Let it loosen up. Let's push into the close-up. Pretty cool. Take a screenshot. I'm going to dolly back now. And there's a little bit of a reflection down there. And overall, a much different look, right? What movie is this? I don't know. But I think it's viable, right? You could always make it a little brighter. There's a lot to do with it. But it's a different look, same scene, just a different approach to the lighting. Another screenshot. So that is the second look. Kind of cool. I like it. A little bit moody, right? It's like a little Godzilla or something, like something just got attacked. We're going to move on to our next lighting setup here, which is very much like this setup, but just a little bit softer, a little bit more approachable, maybe a little bit more realistic too. So the lights we're going to use in this case are this floor lamp, this desk lamp, and this, where did it go? This wall lamp here. So we'll start with this one. And I'll just bring it into the middle of the room, and we'll just kind of like look at what's going to happen. So I'm going to switch this to Raytrace Lighting. Really need to Raytrace it. Turn off the haze, maybe just a little bit. And we're going to make it a little bit warmer, right? So all of a sudden, this is already starting to be more approachable. And lights like this get a lot done for the scene. They're going to shoot light into the ceiling, the ground, and the walls. And the wall pattern that a light like this creates is really what I'm going after, right? It's this kind of... this shape there. That's what we want. It's soft. It looks nice. Overall, practicals like this always look good in scene. And if they're designed nicely, right, they look very comforting and like inviting. So that's the overall vibe for this. While still keeping it kind of dark and moody. So I'm going to do the same thing to this one. I'm going to make it a little bit orange like that. And I'll switch it to Raytrace Lighting. And we're going to scoot this one right here. And again, we get this big sconce light for free, where that's the design, really. That's what we're going for. We're designing with the patterns that lights like this make. Pretty simple. In the real world, we might get a little return light from the ceiling, but not all that much. The last light we're going to use, again, is this one. We're going to make this, again, a little bit warm. Something like this. Ray traced to get accurate shadows. And I'm going to stick this on the wall. We're going to put a couple up here. One there. One here, one there, and maybe one here too. Is it too much to put one there? I don't think so. That's okay. Right, so this is a lot of lights with ray traced shadows, so it's a little bit slow, but this is the next version here. I'm going to actually add another light. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to float it right there as well. We're just lighting with the sconce patterns again, right? So let's take a quick tour. So we get the light patterns from these, Again, the nice light pattern from the table lamp, the floor lamp, and they all kind of match and they're all warm. And that's that look. In this case, this isn't about key lighting, but just to kind of wrap up this scene, I would probably not light from the side as much in this case. It depends on the scene, obviously, but just based on what I'm seeing right now and what I want to kind of make nice, I would ever so slightly warm this up. Not by much. You got to be careful warming up the key light on talent. Warm's typically okay, but you're messing with their skin tone, so you want to be careful. Gonna ray trace it. It's gonna get maybe a little bit slow to render this. I'm gonna drop the haze out, something like this, just a little bit more frontal. We're going a little bit softer, less moody than the setup we did before, which was lit by those tubes and very much lit from the side. This scene is much softer with the sconce lights, but still has a little bit of cinematicness to it with the pools of light that we're essentially creating. This is very much the pools of light setup. So take a screenshot. The practicals look really good out of focus. We're going to back out to our kind of like medium wide. Another screenshot. And that is our final lighting setup. Let me know what you guys thought about this video. Videos like this are a big reason I am making Cine Tracers, because I want to be able to illustrate lighting, talk about it, and without some sort of virtual way like this, I don't really have a way of doing that. Doing this in person, in real life, would be almost impossible. It would be extremely expensive to build this set and light it. And in Cine Tracer, as I build more and more sets, this is pretty much free to do. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll probably be making more of these in time. I think Cine Tracer is getting to the point where it's good for illustrating this kind of stuff. It's taken a while. Still lots of updates coming to it, but I do want to be making more and more like filmmaking content with it this year, 2020. #2020. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Peace.